Welcome to the AI Frame podcast, a space where we explore how founders, innovators, and investors are navigating the world of artificial intelligence. Each episode brings you thoughtful conversations with people redefining how technology meets strategy, separating what's real from what is noise. I'm Ana Rojo-Taurua, doctor in mathematics, AI consultant and strategist, and your host. So grab a coffee and let's frame the future of AI together. Today's guest is Akshay Makar, a climate tech founder who has built companies across industrial solar, autonomous building optimization, and now climate intelligence infrastructure. From Nettlelink to Greenlang, he's working on the operating system for climate action. This episode goes deep into AI, but also sustainability and the systems we need to build if we actually want to move forward in the eco-AI space. Welcome to the podcast. Akshay, how are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for inviting me. I look very much looking forward to the discussion.
I want to start with you. So who are you and what's your current priority goal?
My name is Akshay Makar and I'm a climate entrepreneur. So over the past 10 years, I worked into the ecosystem, understood how industries, buildings operate and how these sources of carbon could be neutralized and could be converted into the better sources of ecosystem for the humans. For me, as of now, the current priority goal is to build the climate intelligence layer. This climate intelligence layer should not be a nice to have, but it should be an infrastructure where starting from buildings and then generalizing into the Greenland as an operating system for the climate intelligence globally is something that I'm looking forward to. If we talk about today, and everything I'm doing, that is anchored into a simple question, and that simple question is, how do we turn AI for climate from one-off project that we usually focus on in industry into a shared infrastructure that has got a scalability and that has got a potential to change the entire infrastructure of the world, from the global north to the global south, from the US to the India, everywhere. The most important thing is the scalability, and this intelligence layer which I am building, I feel this could be the next operating system for climate intelligence that could be used by a solar company to a building intelligence company and everyone.
And when was the moment you realized that hardware alone wasn't enough, that we really needed this intelligence layer?
I started my first company way back in 2016. This was a solar thermal company, and solar thermal is very interesting because why I choose solar thermal to get into is, while everyone was focused on solar photovoltaics and wanted to generate the profits, I took the hard pain, which was how I can make the solar thermal more economical, more scalable. But over the years, getting into this domain, understanding the manufacturing, understanding the supply chain, understanding the customer behavior, we understood that while hardware could solve a huge issue, scalability would always remain. And it's the digitalization and it's the climate intelligence layer that could give a huge credibility. So one of the most critical issue that we usually have as the developers is the finance. And when we have the new technology, when we have the innovation, particularly in the markets of the global south, the scalability impact can be higher because you do not have a lot of investments or trust between the developers and the customers. And that is where we feel that it's the intelligence, it's the software, it's the AI that could add much more credibility, could showcase the data based upon the historical trends as well as based upon the future optimization and future prediction that really could set the tone and could help us build the scalable projects, specifically the hardware. So I think that's where Greenland came into picture. All those MRVs, all those climate simulations, from the initial feasibility to scaling it up and then going for the operation maintenance and then turning those into the carbon assets that could reap the carbon credits and could help the ecosystem to add much more profitability. So a beautiful term that I would like to coin is a profitable sustainability. Today's sustainability would have a long ROI, long return on investment period. If we can build ways where the sustainability could reap the profits for the customers, specifically in the global south, because here the people are expecting return on investment in 3 to 5 years. that would make a lot more sense for everyone.
Absolutely. And, when we first talk, when we first would have our first conversation, there was something that really stuck with me, which was you say something along the lines of the climate crisis isn't a technology problem, is an infrastructure problem. So can you unpack that a little bit?
We already have most of the technologies. We need to cut the emission for the next decade or so. The bottleneck is that infrastructure is something that could connect them. It's the data, it's the decision making, it's the finance, it's the physical assets. And deploying all of them fast and at scale requires this infrastructure. When I say it's not a technology problem, I don't mean that we are done innovating. I just mean that the innovation that currently exists could be scaled up to a certain level. For example, we have the technology that we developed in 2016, 2018 in collaboration with a Swedish company. And it's a beautiful parabolic trough technology. This parabolic trough is used to generate hot water and steam for the industrial applications, specifically low temperature applications, right? But this technology hasn't been able to scale as we thought that it would because the data is in silos. Data currently sits at a site level, right? Even if we are implementing in mega companies like Coca-Cola or other international companies, it's still something sitting at the ground level, probably not coming up because there is a lack of exchange between those sites, right? And that's where we think that technology already exists. Is just the infrastructure where we have to interconnect all those things and make the data more interconnected. I say infrastructure, what is the most different thing that we are building is the agent-based ecosystem. And if we have done a feasibility for, let's say, an FMCG factory, right? And this FMCG factory almost have this technical consideration. For example, what is the temperature at which this CIB process is done? This amount of the heat is being required by this factory. So probably their numerical terms might differ, but the baseline and everything, the thermodynamics, the fluid mechanics would remain the same. So having all those entertained and all those trained in those particular agents, those could interact would lead to a self-learning curve would be really helpful for this. That's why I say we have this technology that has already been developed. It's just the matter of infrastructure that could really help them to scale.
This historically has been a problem with also different type of approaches in AI. There's have been a lot of algorithms that have been developed in the research side of things, and they have not been implemented much later on. And we can go back to, for example, when deep neural networks were born, right? So implementation always takes some time, and sometimes the limitation is actually the infrastructure. It's not at the level of the technology. So both things need to be on the same level in order to make it practical. And you were talking about agentic AI, and I would like to touch more on agentic AI. In the climate space, when is agentic AI not the solution?
When we talk about the climate space, we have a lot of data and a lot of sources and these sources are changing every single time. So agentic AI siloed with pure mathematical calculations and other engineering specifications are not perfect once it is not integrated with the real-time data that should be equipped with the policies, because policies today are playing a really important role, right? And every time, every month or quarterly basis, these policies are changing. For example, in Europe, for instance, in 2026, we have the CBAM, Carbon Border Mechanism Act, which is coming up, right? And that is impacting all those large companies, all those listed, unlisted companies, and everyone has to be equipped and with those information in real time. This is very difficult. So therefore, AI agentic ecosystem working siloed with all those great foundations with mathematics, great specific agent based engineering are not perfect until and unless it is not linked with the policies, the real time data, and of course the human information. So we understand that it's the important mechanism for us as a Greenlang as well, that we would integrate the real-time APIs that could fetch the data of what the policies that are changing in the real time, but also it's
Hmm.
the real-time data that would make a lot of difference.
I totally believe that agentic AI is just going to be one aspect of the entire ecosystem. And let me elaborate a little bit more on that. Some people that try to implement agentic solution, they focus solely on this agentic aspect and they end up implementing what we call agentic AI. But from my experience, what I see that is really giving success is what people are starting to call agentic workflows, and is where other aspects are also integrated. And the agentic AI is just one element more of the entire solution. Some people rush into building, agentic workflows or agentic solutions, and they totally forget about things like responsible AI and transparent AI and governance and things like that. But I can see that more and more people are being a little bit more aware about this, and they are starting to implement these layers, right? So they are starting to look into observability and monitoring and evaluation, and as I was mentioned, like security, governance, and all of these things. What I'm not seeing at all is a sustainability layer. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think like that sustainability layer should be a pillar when you're implementing an agentic solution?
Agentic ecosystem is a technology that is supporting us, but as humans, we are living in at that age where we are facing a crisis, and that crisis is the climate change, right? We always read about the climate change in newspapers and social media everywhere. The point is that if we have to solve that crisis, we have to treat the AI not as an enabler of purely those things that are happening in our daily life, but also an enabler of how we can use it for solving the bigger issues. Apart from just documenting things, just coding things, let us use it for AI for good, which is a beautiful term that I specifically use, right?
I absolutely love that term, and I wrote a course on agentic AI, and one of the modules is actually called agentic AI for good. So
absolutely,
yeah.
I mean, it's the need of the hour, right? It's as beautiful the terms sounds to be. It is the need of the hour. So when I started this, I feel that if we take a look at the recent highlights or the lots of social media posts regarding the data centers is increasing in a very scalable manner. They are using the gigawatts hour of electricity. What is the source that they would be using? Because data center, they are operated for 24 hours. They require air conditioning for 24 hours. You have to cool it down and you have to use the electricity. And that electricity cannot come from the renewable source for 24 hours, because this renewable source is immutable, which means that it cannot be there for 24 hours. So the idea is that we are using the AI, but we are using a lot of electricity, and that actually has impacted companies like Google and Microsoft to go above their targets, And there were recent reports where they were utilizing a lot of electricity, even 35 to 40% more. So the goal is that if we deploy the AI, we deploy in a thoughtful manner, and in a way that while we are using the AI, we should use it with a most critical layer, which is sustainability. That would rather impact us. Uh, Personally, this is the thoughts that I have gained recently, but based upon my 10 years of experience in the industry, I have gone through an entire ecosystem. So from the hardware to the software, and now to the foundation. So hardware, it was tough. I mean, we did the innovation. We did a bit of scaling up. I did across the 7 countries. But then I did this net zero link AI. Still, I'm doing it, and I'm the founder of that company. But if I talk about net zero link, we have a lot of competition. We have the companies like Siemens. We have the companies like Honeywell, which are also digitalizing the critics. But what differentiates the current and the future goal for me is how we can be ecosystem enabler, where the companies could be utilizing it, but could be doing the same work that was to be done in 12 months or 18 months in just 1 month. And that is where this foundation layer would come in. That would include the sustainability layer as well.
What is the biggest misconception you see when people talk about AI and sustainability?
People in the both domains, so within AI and within sustainability, are not interconnected. So I think that in both industries, it is the least thoughtful terms for respective. People in AI don't think about sustainability, and people in sustainability don't think about AI. That's where both of these terms do not go hand in hand. We have seen some of the companies that use sustainability and a degree of digitalization, but those are like complete SaaS type of ecosystem players, and I call them as a black box thing, because we do not have anything open source. We do not know what's going inside, and that SaaS takes a lot of time, a lot of thinking. We don't have the credible data. So what's going behind the roof is not clear to me.
Yeah.
And that is where my goal was, to build the open source intelligence platform.
It's so interesting because the concept of trust keeps on appearing in every single conversation that I have. And what you're building is based on this value of trust. If you're showing what is behind the scenes, you're building a transparent solution and people can actually trust what you're building. And I totally believe that the trust is the biggest success metric when you're trying to build something in AI. So I want to know your thoughts on that.
Trust is everything that hinges the two people together. Trust is everything that companies work upon. And trust is a term that made more sense for us when I was building this company known as Tenza Finance specifically. In 2021, 2022, when the people were buying a lot of carbon credits, a lot of them were bogus, which meant that trust was broken. So when we built this company, Tenza Finance, our focus was that how we could showcase the transparency. And for me, transparency is directly proportional to trust. So over there, we use blockchain, and that became the foundation pillar for me across my professional life and for my personal life as well. So professionally, within this Greenland ecosystem, we really wanted to be completely this transparent with the community, and to start at least, right, so that the people should have everything. Where is this process agent coming from? Where is this data source coming from? That's where the goal is, to build the global intelligence platform, mostly open source, that could be utilized by any and every developer. Just a call of that program, just the integration with that metrics, and what used to take 18 to 24 months to develop the application could be done in less than 10% of the total time. So I think that would really help the people. We are building a lot of documentation for that. So I think that would add a lot more trust in a way that it would be a completely things in front of you. You can just use what you want, and bingo, you have this industrial application, you have this building application.
I think it's great that you're building all this documentation, because the fact that things are available to the public doesn't mean that they are accessible, because accessible means that they can actually access it and that they can do something with them. And that's why I think documentation is so important, and the documentation that people can actually understand.
That's why from the day one, it was critical. Whatever we develop, just have the documentation to support that, to make it crystal clear for everyone.
Absolutely. I think some of the biggest open source frameworks that are out there, something that they have in common is that the documentation is really clear. There are lots of examples, videos, and they keep everyone informed with any update that they have. So that is the common denominator that I've seen, actually.
Absolutely. We did learn a lot from LangChain as well, right?
Eternal love to LangChain. I want to make it public. I absolutely love the LangChain ecosystem.
From the day one, we wanted to do the LangChain of climate intelligence. Unfortunately, we cannot be, because not a lot of data that we can could be integrated into the ecosystem. It has to be the real time. So a lot of enterprise ecosystem and infrastructure comes into play. But a huge degree, at least 40-45% of that is still something that we are trying to build as a LangChain model. Just call that application, build that application, develop a basic ecosystem, and it would be very nice.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I can't wait to see that happen. So it's 2030. What do you think the role of sustainability is going to play in the world of AI?
Sustainability is going to be very critical. It's already very critical, right? You have this Fortune 500 companies that are mandatory to file their climate reports. It's mostly all of the large scale companies throughout the all stock markets, including India, that have to provide their net zero targets and potentially work on those to achieve those net zero targets. And it's just a matter of time that we find the solution to scale it up. It's currently in a way that a lot of pilots are happening. We already discussed about why technology is enough and why infrastructure is something that is just left to scale those things up. I think that if it's 2030, we are seeing a lot more scalable, lot more interconnected, interoperable, and inter-associated technologies working together, not in silos, exchanging the data, building, acting as a source of profitable ecosystem for a lot more players, whether it's the EVs, whether it's the solar thermal plants, transforming the ecosystem by generating a lot more carbon credits. So I feel that infrastructure play is going to play a huge role. You learn the data from one location in the world, probably India, and if you have the same latitude, longitude, probably some same solar radiations across, let's say Chile. You have a lot of the data already in the different regions being recorded. You could directly, instead of just copy pasting into your in your Excel and sending it to your employees, right? You and waiting for them to come back. That usually takes 30 days. You just have to compare it with your system and see that yes, Chile, we have a very high radiation in this place, and that's why this technology is much more profitable, much more ROI here, and that's why deploy it here, deploy the other technology over there. So this decision making is going to be very simple, and this is purely based upon the data, based upon the infrastructure, based upon that intelligence that is going inside the ecosystem. So I feel that in the next 5 years, we have a vision to build 100,000 applications purely with the Greenlang. And I just want to build the Greenlang as the core infrastructure that goes into play for every and potentially any application, whether it is energy, whether it is water, whether it is waste.
That's super exciting and fascinating. As I said before, I just can't wait to see that happening. I think we could keep on talking forever. I feel that we could have just a season just talking about this topic. I think we're just going to leave it here. But thank you so much for sharing all this in this episode. I think sustainability is something that gets overlooked a lot. I'm super grateful that you came into this episode to share this with all of us. So thank you so much.
So it's a real pleasure to be here, and grateful to this communication. Potentially, your audience would look into this and see that sustainability will surely play a huge role as we go ahead.
I have no doubt. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the AI Friend podcast. If you like this episode, follow the show and share with someone who would love it too. I'm Ana Rojo Turua, and I'll see you next time for another conversation that reframes how we think about AI.